in the vibrant thrum of the Andromeda system's busiest intergalactic marketplace. Zara floated above the crowd, her tall, lithe Eltharian form moving gracefully between the stalls. Her mission was purely academic: gather data on the myriad species interacting in commerce and culture. Yet humans rarely caught her scholarly eye. They seemed too simple, too mundane compared to the galaxy's more exotic beings. As she prepared to dismiss the human section of the market, her attention was unexpectedly caught by a distinct voice. "You will find finer silk in 3 galaxies," boasted a human merchant, his hands deftly displaying his wares. "Silk? From Earth, you say?" Zara drifted closer, her curiosity piqued. Michael, standing on the other side of the stall, chuckled softly. "It's beautiful, isn't it? But it's not just the silk, it's the craft. Humans take pride in perfecting such details." Zara turned to face him, her interest now split between the fabric and the speaker. "You speak of it with such reverence," she noted, her voice a melodious contrast to the bustling noise of the market. "I do," Michael admitted, his gaze meeting hers, unflinching and intrigued. "Every thread tells a story. Much like us, I suppose." "Stories are the essence of culture," Zara replied, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "And you are?" "And you are." "Michael. And you are?" "Zara, of the Eltharians. I study civilizations." "That must be fascinating work," Michael said, his eyes lighting up with genuine interest. "It is, though I confess, I find humans somewhat less fascinating than other species I study." "Oh." Michael raised an eyebrow, a playful challenge in his tone. "May I attempt to sway your opinion?" Zara's smile widened. "I'd like to see you try." Michael gestured towards a small cafe nearby. "Shall we?" he asked, leading the way. Zara followed, her elegant steps barely touching the ground. As they settled into the quiet corner of the cafe, Michael began, "Humans might not have the scales of a draconian or the telepathy of the Illyrians, but our strength lies in our diversity and creativity." "Creativity?" Zara queried, tilting her head slightly. "Yes," Michael continued, pulling out a small device. With a few taps, he brought up images of human art, architecture, and music. "Look at these. Every piece has a story and emotion. It's how we share our inner worlds." Zara leaned in, her eyes scanning the images. "This is indeed more complex than I presumed." "The thing about us being little," Michael said, quoting her earlier assumption, "is that it often makes others overlook the depth we possess." Zara considered this, her gaze lingering on a painting of the ocean. "Perhaps I have been hasty in my judgment. It happens to the best of us," Michael said with a reassuring smile. "We're all a little guilty of simplifying things that are truly complex." Their conversation deepened, flowing from human philosophy to Eltharian societal structures. Michael listened intently, his questions thoughtful and his interest apparent. Zara found herself more engaged than she had been in cycles. As the marketplace began to close, the lights dimming in the stalls, Michael looked at Zara with a hopeful expression. "Would you like to see more of what humans are capable of? Maybe even visit Earth?" Zara's eyes sparkled with a newfound curiosity. "I think I would like that very much, Michael." Their first encounter, initially driven by academic curiosity and a challenge to change a mind, had blossomed into an unexpected partnership, poised to explore the depths of human culture and perhaps even more, the intricacies of interstellar friendship and understanding. The following day, under the bright swathe of Earth's blue sky, Michael escorted Zara around the bustling streets of a major city, introducing her to the clamor and charm of human life. The cacophony of sounds, from the honking of cars to the distant laughter of children playing in a park, provided a vivid backdrop to their ongoing conversation. "Everything is so vibrant," Zara remarked, taking in the myriad of smells ranging from street food to the exhaust of vehicles. "It's quite chaotic, but in a harmonious way." Michael smiled, leading her to a quaint coffee shop nestled between towering skyscrapers. "It's the organized chaos that gives human cities their character. Here, let me show you one of our favorite human traditions, coffee." As they sat at a small table by the window, Michael waved over the barista. "2 of your finest, please," he ordered, then turned his attention back to Zara. "Coffee is a cornerstone of human social rituals. It's more than just a drink. It's a reason for people to gather and share ideas, or just enjoy the moment." Zara sipped the dark, aromatic liquid cautiously, her eyes lighting up with surprise. "It's very robust," she commented, trying to hide her grimace. Laughing, Michael said. It's an acquired taste, certainly, but it's also a stimulant, helps keep the mind alert. Their conversation drifted to more personal territories as Zara asked, "What drove you to become a merchant of Earth's goods?" "It started with my fascination for Earth's cultures. Each region on our planet has its own unique arts, crafts, and stories," Michael explained, his enthusiasm evident. "I wanted to bring these to the galaxy, show that humans have something valuable to offer." "And have you found the galaxy receptive?" Zara queried, genuinely interested. "More than I hoped," Michael admitted. "It seems curiosity is universal." Their cups now empty, Michael suggested a walk through a local art museum. "Since you're interested in human culture, you should see our art. It's one of the purest expressions of our emotions and histories." As they wandered through the halls adorned with paintings and sculptures, Zara was drawn to a particular painting depicting a serene landscape. "This one evokes a sense of peace," she noted, her gaze fixed on the art. "It's a depiction of the English countryside, famous for its tranquil beauty," Michael explained. "Art can be a refuge, a way to preserve moments of beauty amid our world's chaos." "I'm beginning to understand the complexity of humans," Zara said thoughtfully. "You cherish beauty and complexity in such a profound way." "I'm glad to hear you say that," Michael replied with a soft smile. "I hope it's shifting your initial view of us." "It is," Zara confessed. "Humans are indeed fascinating." Their tour continued with discussions about each piece, Michael providing context and Zara offering insights from her own alien perspective. It was a rich exchange of ideas and emotions, bridging their worlds through the universal language of art. As the day drew to a close, the setting sun casting a golden glow over the city, Michael turned to Zara. "There's one last place I'd like to show you today." He led her to a rooftop garden that overlooked the city skyline, now lit with thousands of lights. The panoramic view was breathtaking. "Humans have always reached for the stars, in one way or another," Michael said, his voice soft, reflective. "This city, it's like a microcosm of Earth, diverse, resilient, vibrant. It's home." Zara looked over the expanse, her expression thoughtful. "And now I see why you defend it so passionately. You're not just showing me your world, you're sharing your home." "Yes," Michael agreed, looking at her with a newfound respect. "And I'm glad to share it with someone who appreciates it as much as you seem to." Their day together had started as an academic exercise for Zara, but had transformed into a profound exploration of human spirit and culture. Michael's hope was that their shared experiences would continue to build bridges not just between two individuals, but between two vastly different worlds. Zara woke early the next morning, her mind buzzing with the sights and sounds of Earth she had experienced the day before. Michael had planned another day of cultural immersion, promising a deeper dive into what he called the soul of human civilization. After a quick breakfast at a local diner where Zara tried pancakes for the first time, they headed to a nearby music hall, renowned for its live performances of classical music, a genre Michael described as foundational to human cultural history. "As an Eltharian, he must have symphonies," Michael began as they walked. "But I think you'll find our classical music has its own distinct charm." "We do enjoy complex harmonies," Zara replied. "Music is considered a high art among my people. It will be interesting to compare." The concert hall was an elegant, old-world building with ornate decorations and a grand aura. As they took their seats, the lights dimmed, and the first notes of a violin pierced the silence, resonating throughout the hall. Zara listened intently, her eyes closed, letting the waves of sound wash over her. "It's beautiful," she whispered to Michael during the intermission. "There's an emotional depth to it that's very compelling." "That's what we aim for in our music," Michael responded. "To capture and convey emotion. It's a universal language, much like your work with civilizations. It transcends words." The discussion turned to technical aspects of the music as Michael explained the roles of different instruments of different etc. Zara was quick to draw parallels to Eltharian music, noting the similarities and differences in composition and performance. Leaving the concert hall, Michael suggested a visit to a renowned local artist's studio. "You'll see a different kind of artistry here," he explained as they arrived at a loft bustling with activity. Canvases of vibrant colors and bold strokes filled the space. The artist, a middle-aged man with a gentle demeanor, welcomed them warmly. "Ah, Michael, and this must be your friend from the stars," he said, shaking Zara's hand with both of his. "I'm Thomas. Welcome to my little universe." Thomas led them around his studio, discussing his techniques and inspirations. Zara was fascinated by the physicality of painting, so different from the more cerebral art forms of her people. Each stroke tells a part of my story, Thomas explained, demonstrating a brush technique. Why don't you try? He offered, handing Zara a brush. With a tentative hand, Zara dipped the brush in paint and made a few strokes, her movements becoming more confident with Michael's encouraging nods. The result was surprisingly harmonious, blending her strokes with Thomas's existing work. This is quite therapeutic, Zara commented, stepping back to view their collaborative piece. It's meant to be, Thomas said, smiling. Art heals, it connects, and it teaches. Their day ended with a casual stroll through a historic district, each building telling a story of times past. Michael shared anecdotes about the area's history, connecting each tale to the broader narrative of human progress. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the cobblestone streets, Michael and Zara found themselves at a small, secluded park. They sat on a bench, reflecting on the day. You've shown me so much, Zara said. I feel a deeper connection not just to your culture but to you as well. It's clear that humanity is not little at all. I'm glad to hear that, Michael replied. It's been a pleasure sharing my world with you. I hope it's enriched your understanding of us. It has, Zara affirmed. And I hope to share more of Eltheria with you too. Perhaps you'll find our world as intriguing as I find yours. I look forward to that, Michael said, the promise of future exchanges hanging in the air like the evening stars beginning to twinkle above. Their cultural exchange was proving to be a bridge not only between their worlds but between their hearts as well. The days that followed were filled with deeper explorations and shared experiences as Michael continued to introduce Zara to the nuances of human culture. Their next adventure was a trip to one of Earth's natural wonders, a sprawling national park known for its breathtaking landscapes and diverse ecosystems. As they hiked along a rugged trail, the air fresh with the scent of pine and the earthy dampness of the forest floor, Zara marveled at the planet's natural beauty. Your world is full of surprises, she remarked, stopping to admire a view over a crystal-clear lake surrounded by mountains. It is, Michael agreed, smiling at her enthusiasm. Sometimes even I forget the diversity we have right at our doorstep, until I see it through someone else's eyes. Their conversation flowed naturally, touching on topics from environmental conservation to the role of nature in Eltharian culture. Michael was keen to learn as much as he was eager to teach, and Zara was an eager and attentive student. I find it fascinating, Zara said as they paused by a waterfall, its roar a soothing backdrop. Eltharia lacks such variety in landscapes. Our planet is more uniform. But here, the diversity is not just cultural but ecological as well. That's one of the things we're proud of, though we sometimes struggle to protect it, Michael replied, leading the way to a lookout point. They unpacked a small picnic there, enjoying local delicacies that Michael had brought along. As they ate, Michael pulled out a small, worn book from his bag. I want to share something else with you, literature. This is one of my favorite works by a human author. It explores themes of love, conflict, and reconciliation in ways that might resonate with anyone, regardless of their world. Zara listened intently as Michael read passages aloud, the prose rich and evocative. We use stories to make sense of our world, he explained. Do Eltharians have a similar tradition? We do, Zara said, her voice thoughtful. Stories are the threads that bind our society together. Listening to human stories, I see the threads are not so different, just woven differently. Their day stretched into the evening, and as the sunset painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, they made their way back to the city. The natural beauty of the day gave way to the bustling nightlife of human civilization. Michael suggested a visit to a local theater, where a play was being performed. The play, a classic human drama, was a new experience for Zara, who found the live performance deeply moving. Human emotions are so vividly expressed, she commented as they discussed the play afterward over coffee. Your art seems to live and breathe. It's meant to feel that way, Michael said. Art, music, literature, it's all about conveying emotion, telling a story that connects on a personal level. As they walked through the illuminated streets, Zara reflected on all she had learned. Michael, this journey through your world has been more enlightening than I could have anticipated. I feel a deep connection, not just to your culture but to you as a person. Michael nodded, a gentle smile on his face. I feel the same, Zara. It's been an incredible exchange. I'm glad we met that day in the marketplace. They arrived at her temporary residence, and as they said their goodbyes, there was a moment of hesitation, a pause laden with unspoken feelings and the promise of more to explore together. Tomorrow, let's explore more, Michael suggested, his voice hopeful. I would like that, Zara agreed, her eyes reflecting the city lights. Their connection, fostered by shared experiences and the exchange of cultures, was growing deeper. Each day brought new insights and a greater appreciation for each other's worlds, setting the foundation for a profound and enduring bond. The next day brought a gentle breeze and a clear sky, perfect for the adventure Michael had planned. He picked up Zara early, and they drove to the coast, where a small, picturesque town awaited them. Today's a bit different, Michael announced as they walked towards the pier. We're going to experience human leisure activities by the sea. Zara, intrigued by the ocean's vastness, watched the waves crash against the shore. It's much like the fluid landscapes of Iltharia, yet distinctly different, she observed. Michael grinned. Wait until you try sailing. It's the perfect blend of relaxation and engagement with nature. They boarded a small sailboat, and Michael taught Zara the basics of sailing. The wind in their hair and the rhythmic motion of the boat seemed to sync with their ever-deepening rapport. As a child, I used to sail with my family, Michael shared, taking the helm. It's a fond memory, filled with laughter and the thrill of the open water. Zara listened, captivated by his stories. Iltharians don't sail. Our waters are too volatile. This peace, it's calming. They spent the morning sailing, and by the time they returned to shore, Zara was laughing, her earlier reservation replaced by a newfound appreciation for the sea. Lunch was at a small seafood restaurant overlooking the beach. They chose a secluded table outside, where they could feel the sea breeze. As they ate, their conversation turned to personal dreams and aspirations. What drove you to become an interstellar merchant? Zara asked, genuinely curious about Michael's passions. It's the adventure, the discovery of new worlds, new people. Like meeting you, Michael replied, his eyes twinkling. What about you? What drives your curiosity? I want to understand the universe, its myriad cultures and creatures. You could say it's my calling to find connections where none seem apparent, Zara explained, her voice tinged with passion. As the sun began to set, casting golden hues across the sky, Michael suggested a walk along the beach. They strolled along the sand, shoes in hand, waves occasionally lapping at their feet. Michael stopped, looking out over the water. There's something about sunsets that makes you want to share them with someone special, he said softly, turning to Zara. Zara felt a warmth spread through her. I agree. This moment it's beautiful. They continued walking until they reached a secluded part of the beach. The sound of the waves and the call of distant seabirds were the only sounds. Michael took a deep breath and turned to Zara. This might be out of place, but I feel a connection with you that goes beyond mere friendship, he confessed, his voice low. Zara looked into his eyes, her heart racing. I feel it too, Michael. I didn't expect to, but I do. Encouraged, Michael took her hand. May I? He asked softly. At her nod, he leaned in and kissed her gently. The kiss was tentative at first, but grew deeper, more assured as they both responded to the burgeoning feelings they had been cautiously circling. After a moment, they parted slightly, their foreheads resting against each other. This is new for me, Zara whispered. But it feels right. It does, Michael agreed, his voice steady and sure. They spent a few more moments there, watching as the last light of the day faded into twilight, the sky a canvas of deep blues and purples. Finally, they walked back to the car, hand in hand, the night air cool and comforting around them. They drove back to the city in a comfortable silence, each lost in thought about the new dimensions their relationship had taken. That night, Michael took Zara to his favorite lookout over the city. The lights below twinkled like stars, mirroring the night sky above. Zara, Michael began, his voice earnest. Today was incredible. I want to explore where this could go if you're willing. I am, Zara replied, her voice filled with a quiet joy. I am very much willing. Their shared smile in the moonlight sealed the silent vow to explore this new path together, wherever it might lead. The night was a memory in the making, a pivotal chapter in their unfolding story. The soft light of early morning filtered through the curtains as Michael and Zara awoke, entwined in the warmth of each other's arms. Last night's conversation had blossomed into a deeper connection. and they had returned to Michael's apartment, their hearts full of newfound feelings and quiet anticipation. Michael was the first to stir, gazing down at Zara with a mixture of awe and affection. "Good morning," he whispered, his voice rough with sleep. Zara opened her eyes, her expression serene. "Good morning," she replied, her smile reflecting the deep emotions of the previous evening. They lay in silence for a moment, simply enjoying the closeness. It was Zara who broke the quiet. "So Michael, about last night." Michael touched his finger to her lips gently. "You don't have to explain. I feel it too. Something special is happening here." Zara nodded, her eyes shining with a mixture of emotions. "I've never felt this way before. Not on Eltharia, not anywhere." Encouraged by her words, Michael leaned in and kissed her softly, their lips moving in a slow, exploring dance. Zara responded with equal tenderness, her hands finding their way to his hair, pulling him closer. As their kisses deepened, Michael's hands wandered to her back, tracing the contours of her spine with a gentleness that spoke volumes. Zara shivered under his touch, the sensations new and exhilarating. She returned his caresses, exploring the texture of his skin, marveling at the warmth of his body. "Is this okay?" Michael murmured against her lips, his breath warm. "Yes," Zara breathed out, her voice a whisper. "Don't stop." Their exploration continued, each touch and kiss deepening their connection. They moved together with a natural rhythm, discovering the pleasure of closeness and the intimacy of shared breaths. So Michael showed Zara the depth of human passion, guiding her with patience and reverence for the moment they were sharing. As the morning light grew brighter, their movements became a silent language of mutual desire and respect. Zara, experiencing human lovemaking for the first time, was captivated by the intensity and the tenderness of the act. Michael, in turn, was moved by her openness and the trust she placed in him. Afterward, they lay together quietly, the only sound their synchronized breathing. Michael wrapped his arm around Zara, pulling her close. "How do you feel?" he asked softly. "I didn't know it could be like this," Zara admitted, her voice filled with wonder. "There's so much tenderness, so much connection." "So that's what it's supposed to be," Michael said, kissing her forehead gently. "It's not just physical. It's about being close, sharing everything with someone." Zara nodded, her head resting against his chest. "I understand now why you humans value this so much. It's powerful." They spent the rest of the morning talking, sharing stories of their worlds, their beliefs, and their dreams. The physical intimacy had opened a new level of emotional connection, and they were keen to explore every aspect of it. As the day progressed, they decided to venture out, hand in hand, continuing their exploration of Earth, but now with a new intimacy that colored their experiences together. The city seemed different to Zara now, more vibrant and filled with possibilities. Michael, seeing the world anew through Zara's eyes and their shared experiences, felt a profound gratitude. "Zara, you've shown me as much about humanity as I've shown you about Earth," he said as they walked through a bustling market. Zara smiled, squeezing his hand. "And we've only just begun, haven't we?" "Yes," Michael agreed, his heart full. "We've only just begun." Their journey together had taken a pivotal turn, each discovery about each other deepening their bond, promising more layers to uncover and more experiences to share. As Zara and Michael's days together unfolded into a series of shared experiences, each moment deepened their understanding of each other and their respective cultures. One evening, after a day exploring a historical museum that detailed humanity's journey through space exploration, they found themselves at a cozy, dimly lit restaurant in the heart of the city. Sitting across from each other with a quiet ambience enveloping them, Michael initiated a conversation that had been lingering on his mind. "Zara, do you remember the first day we met? You mentioned that you found humans somewhat less fascinating." Zara smiled, a twinkle of amusement in her eyes. "I do remember. I must admit my views have dramatically changed since then." Michael chuckled, his expression one of curiosity. "What changed your mind?" "It was you," Zara said sincerely, her hands folded neatly on the table. "You challenged my perceptions, not just by words but by allowing me to experience your world firsthand. I thought humans were little, until I saw you, until I saw all of this." She gestured around, encompassing not just the physical space but the broader cultural ambience. "That means a lot to hear," Michael replied, visibly moved. "I always hoped that through our interactions, The depth and richness of human culture could be conveyed. But you've taught me just as much, Zara. The way you see the world, your perspectives, it's opened my eyes in ways I hadn't expected. Their food arrived, but the conversation didn't pause. They discussed the dishes in front of them, each a delicacy from different parts of Earth, explaining their origins and significance. As much as we've traversed through the city and touched on the vastness of human experiences, Michael continued, his gaze thoughtful, I find that our most profound moments come from these simple interactions. Sharing a meal, discussing art, even disagreeing at times. Zara nodded, her expression contemplative. It's true. I've realized that understanding isn't just about observing or studying, it's about experiencing, feeling, and connecting on a personal level. They delved deeper into their conversation, exploring themes of connection and the human need for interaction. Zara shared insights from her own culture, drawing parallels and noting differences. As an Eltharian, our connections are often more cerebral, she explained. We connect through mind links, sharing thoughts directly. This what we're doing now, talking, sharing emotions through words and expressions. It's different, but equally profound. Michael listened intently, fascinated. It's like two different languages of connection, then both powerful, but uniquely expressed. Yes, exactly, Zara agreed. Both seeking understanding and closeness, just through different means. As they finished their meal, the conversation shifted to personal dreams and aspirations. Michael shared his hopes of further exploring the galaxy, perhaps even visiting Eltharia. Zara expressed a desire to bring back her experiences on Earth to her people, to share the stories and lessons she'd learned. Do you think they'll believe how much you've come to admire the humans? Michael asked with a grin. Zara laughed, a light, melodic sound. I'll have to bring proof. Maybe a series of detailed reports or better. Bring a few willing to visit. I'd like that, Michael said earnestly. Building a bridge between our worlds. It's something I've come to deeply care about. Their evening ended with a walk along the city's night-lit pathways, their hands clasped together, each step a testament to their growing bond and mutual understanding. The night air was crisp, and the city lights blurred into a tapestry of colors as they walked in comfortable silence, each lost in thought about the future and what it might hold for them, both as individuals and together. As Zara's time on Earth neared its end, both she and Michael felt a mix of emotions: satisfaction from the deep cultural exchanges and a poignant sadness at the impending separation. On her last day, they decided to spend a quiet afternoon in the city's botanical garden, a place they had come to enjoy together for its peaceful beauty and quiet reflections. Walking along the shaded paths, Michael broke the silence. I can't believe how quickly time has passed. It's been an enlightening journey, Zara responded, looking at the exotic flowers reminiscent of her home planet. I never expected to feel so at home on another world. Michael smiled, taking her hand. You'll always have a home here, Zara. Remember that. They stopped by a small pond, watching the light dance on the water's surface. Zara turned to Michael, her expression serious. I need to ask you something. Anything, Michael replied, meeting her gaze. Would you consider coming to Eltharia with me, even if just for a visit? Zara asked, the question hanging in the air between them. Michael's heart skipped a beat. I would love that, to see your world, to understand it as you've come to understand mine. They spent the afternoon making plans, discussing what Michael might need to prepare for a journey across the stars. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the gardens, they made their way to a nearby cafe to savor their final evening together. Sitting across from each other with steaming cups of coffee, Michael brought up their first meeting. But do you remember the marketplace? How skeptical you were of human culture. Zara laughed softly. How could I forget? I was so certain of my assumptions. And then I met you, and everything changed. It's funny, Michael mused, how meeting one person can alter the course of your life. Yes, it is, Zara agreed. You've changed my perspective in more ways than I could have imagined.
Their conversation drifted to memories of the days they had spent together, each recalling moments that had touched their hearts. As the cafe began to close, Michael looked at Zara with a resolute expression. Let's make a promise, he suggested. No matter where we are in the galaxy, let's keep exploring, keep learning not just about our cultures but about each other.
I promise, Zara said, the weight of the words balanced by the sincerity in her voice.
They stood outside the cafe, reluctant to say goodbye. Michael Zara into a gentle embrace. This isn't goodbye, not really. It's just until next time.
Until next time, Zara repeated, her voice steady despite the tears she fought back.
They walked back to her temporary residence, each step slow, savoring the final moments together. At her door, they shared one last, lingering kiss upon itself, filled with the anticipation of reunions yet to come. See you soon, Michael. Thank you for everything, Zara said, her eyes glistening.
See you soon, Zara. Safe travels, Michael replied, watching her disappear inside. As he walked back through the quiet streets, Michael felt a profound sense of gratitude and wonder. The city seemed different now, imbued with memories and echoes of laughter. He looked up at the stars, thinking of Iltharia somewhere out there, and smiled. The universe had grown smaller in the most wonderful way. Their story had begun with curiosity and skepticism, but it had blossomed into a deep, enduring connection that transcended worlds. And as each would return to their own lives, they carried with them the promise of continued discovery and the possibility of countless shared tomorrows.